Today, we are diving into a practice from the Maharatnakuta Sutra that is, believe it or not, both incredibly deep and stunningly simple. It's called One Practice Samadhi, and it's a direct path to seeing things as they really are. But it all kicks off with a really tough question. So, this is the question that the great Bodhisattva Manjushri drops on us. And you have to admit, it really seems to pull the rug out from under the entire spiritual journey. I mean, if you can't get it, if you can't even know it, then what's the point of even trying? And here's his logic. Manjushri basically says that the very nature of enlightenment, or bodhi, is that there is nothing to it. You can't see it, you can't hear it, you can't attain it. It's beyond all of our usual concepts. Now that sounds like a total dead end, right? But actually, it's the launching pad for a completely different way of seeing things. All right, so here's how we're going to unpack this. We'll start with this mind-bending wisdom. Then we'll find the key that makes sense of it all. After that, we'll get into the specific meditation it points to, break down the exact steps, and finally wrap our heads around what this practice is really all about. Okay, first things first, Manjushri isn't trying to make us give up, not at all. He's actually trying to smash our usual way of thinking, this whole idea that I am a separate little self that needs to go out and get this separate thing called enlightenment. And here's the beautiful paradox at the heart of it. He says that Buddha, or enlightenment, isn't separate from the entire universe, which he calls the Dharma realm. They're literally the same thing. So, you, who are already part of the Dharma realm, trying to attain the Dharma realm? Well, it's like trying to use your own hand to grab itself. It just doesn't make sense. You can't attain what you already are. And that realization leads us to the single most important idea in this entire teaching. This is the master key that unlocks everything else. And it's this, the one form Dharma realm. It's basically the perspective that everything, you, me, this screen, the air, our thoughts, our feelings, absolutely everything, is just part of one single, indivisible reality. There are no truly separate pieces. This slide really lays it out perfectly. It shows the contrast between how we usually see the world and this non-dual view. We live in a world of opposites, me versus the world, a normal person versus a Buddha, suffering versus freedom. But the one-form perspective says, nope, those are just surface-level distinctions. At their core, they're all just different flavors of the exact same reality. And just to show you how completely radical this view is, the sutra takes it to the extreme. It says that from this ultimate viewpoint, even enlightenment itself and the 5 worst possible sins you could commit are, in their essence, of non-dual form. Now, that doesn't mean good and evil don't matter in our daily lives. Of course they do. It means that ultimately, everything arises from, and returns to, the same ungraspable, empty nature. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a pretty wild philosophy, but what am I supposed to do with it? Well, that's exactly where One Practice Samadhi comes in. The practice is called One Practice Samadhi, and the Buddhist definition is just perfect in its simplicity. Knowing that reality is this one interconnected whole, the practice is just to connect your mind to it. That's it, to align your awareness with that fundamental truth. Now, Manjushri gives us this fantastic analogy to explain how it works. He says it's like learning archery. When you first start, it's all effort. You have to consciously aim, focus, pull the string back. It's a lot of work. But if you practice enough, it becomes second nature. Your body just knows what to do, and the arrow flies to the target without you even thinking about it. And that's exactly how this practice works. It starts with intentional effort. You have to focus your mind on one single thing. But just like that archer, if you keep at it, you get to a point where you don't have to force it anymore. Your mind just naturally rests in a state of calm, focused awareness. The effort becomes effortless. So how do we actually do this? Well, the Buddha lays out a super clear step-by-step method. And what I love about this is how simple and accessible it is. Find a quiet spot. Let go of all the mental chatter. Don't get hooked by things you see or think. Then, simply put all of your attention on one single Buddha, just chanting their name while sitting upright and facing their direction. It's a method of total one-pointed focus. And here is where it all clicks back to that idea of the one-form Dharma realm. Why does focusing on just one Buddha work so well? Because the fundamental enlightened quality of all Buddhas is exactly the same. It's non-dual. So by going deep and connecting with one, you're actually tapping into this single enlightened nature that runs through all of them. So what's the end game here? Are we trying to gain some special power or a quality that we don't already have? The Buddha uses another beautiful analogy to show us what this is really all about. He says, imagine you find a priceless jewel, but it's completely covered in mud and grime. The incredible value, the brilliance, is already there, inside the jewel. All you have to do is clean it. And as you polish away the dirt, its natural light just starts to shine through. And that, right there, is the absolute key. This practice isn't about creating enlightenment or bolting on some new quality to who you are. It's simply about polishing the mind. It's a process of clearing away all the mental mud, the distractions, the confusion, so that the brilliant, clear nature that is already your own can finally shine forth. And when that inner light does shine, the sutra says these amazing qualities just naturally appear. You gain this clear understanding of things, your positive qualities just grow on their own, you begin to illuminate the truth for others, and you quickly realize the very thing you were looking for. Because, well, it was inside you the whole time. Which brings us right back to the beginning. This entire teaching, this whole practice, is designed to point us inward, and it leaves us with one final, powerful question to consider. If the brilliant, clear nature of reality is already our own true nature, then what on earth are we still looking for out there?